Hello, welcome to week 3 and chapter 3 of Este's book, Hear My Son. Chapter 3 is Goals for Education. It's from Proverbs 1 through 9. There's a wealth of information regarding goal setting for instruction in this part of the book. We transmit knowledge from one generation to the next. It's always actually bothered me. It's like, why can't we just take what we've learned and pass it through somehow? We always start from scratch, but that's the nature of humanity. Knowledge itself is not the goal, however. It's more about understanding, application, and performance. It's not just knowledge, it's really the instruction and wisdom. So the Mosaic Law, the Old Testament, and wisdom in Proverbs shares both the same worldview that we've already discussed in the first chapter. Both call us to honor Yahweh. Sorry, I've got a cold. Wisdom calls us to apply that covenant faith in all areas of our life. So there are 5 goals of education that are talked about in this chapter. The first one is commitment. So the foundation of this whole thing is personal commitment of the learner. Learner must be active and an enthusiastic participant. So search inside yourself. Do we have this same longing in your program that you're taking right now? Does it make a difference in your perception and performance? The learner is diligent and implies that devoted heart that they have. Devotion to wisdom is likened to a sincere love between a man and a woman. It's kind of an odd, but it's really a cool, nice picture about that commitment, love, and devotion to learning also. The second is character. Mosaic Law focuses on external actions. Wisdom emphasizes the foundational godly character which produces actions. Yahweh promised to establish the throne through Solomon over Israel if he followed Yahweh's wisdom, and we know how that resulted. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life." The heart, which represents our character, affects the total outcome or makeup of a person. Developing character leads to maturity, integrity, and completeness in Yahweh. So our goal in education, it's not just imparting facts to the learners or our students, it's building character in them. The third is competence. The chapter speaks of 7 Hebrew words in Proverbs that describe different aspects of the learner's competence. These translate to prudence, which is foresight, discretion, guidance, sound judgment, wise dealing, discernment between right and wrong, and wisdom, which is not, by the way, an innate ability. And these are pretty self-explanatory. The fourth is protection. Proverbs is realistic, describes the harmful influences that put a learner in danger, and it also teaches us how to avoid it. It discusses 4 categories of evil: personal vices, peers, evil men, and evil women. Personal vices are like simplicity, laziness, lethargic, gullibility, arrogance, foolishness. You can go on and on about that. Peers, peer pressure into temptation and evil does so much harm. I mean, we've seen that from childhood. Evil men talks about perversion, inverted values, being unethical, doing wrong. Evil women, temptation to folly, foolishness, and stupidity. The fifth and final is the knowledge of God. And really, it's the most important. It's the ultimate prize of Christian education. That is the knowledge of God. It's not simply about achievement. Cultivate reverence for Yahweh. Develop a personal relationship with the Almighty. Proverbs 9:10 tells us, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." So the primary goal for Christian education is that the learner may accept for themselves the values that wisdom promotes so that their life is shaped according to Yahweh's desires. Have a great week. See you next week.